All right, guys, I'm back from my little hiatus. Welcome back to Sex, Drugs, and Soul. Today, I have on Lauren Elise Rogers. She is the owner and founder of sexedforyou.com, an intimacy and relationship coach and sexuality educator. I just want to cover my bases here. I really appreciate her flexibility in scheduling. Some personal things came up. And welcome to Texas, Lauren. The boob sweat capital is here to greet you. Fall doesn't start till like November.
Texas welcome for sure.
Yeah, I'm always like
So much. Everyone kept saying, "There's a cold front. There's a cold front coming through," and no,
yeah,
it's not a cold front.
Gotta keep those happy. Sometimes a little pat bath everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know, pits. What is it? Ass.
It's
tit.
been beautiful.
Yeah.
It's been beautiful.
But I'm glad that it aligned and you were able to come and like see your friends and do this. I'm so excited to drop in with you about some things because I feel like we have an interesting like similar background-ish, like, purity culture, raised in the Bible Belt. And then I would love to just like dive in and learn more about your story, who you are, what brought you to this point of being a pleasure preacher, which I love. I love the alliteration. And I'm like, yes to pleasure. So I'm like, where to start? I guess, yeah, tell me a little bit about growing up in that environment.
I think that's a beautiful place to start because I think so many of us are here because of a story. I find that within this field of sexuality and relationships, so many of us are here with a little bit of a wounded healer story with we came out of this and now we want to go back and bring others into the freedom, the pleasure, the joy, the sensuality, the sexuality that we now get to flourish in. And it feels really important to talk about going to the back, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I think so many would look at us and think maybe we've always been this way, and it's not. It's just not true. And so I was born, in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is middle of the Bible Belt. It is right for those who might not be familiar, where Liberty University exists, and that is where the Reverend Jerry Falwell started his school. And it is actually Jerry Falwell who talked with Ronald Reagan, who got us the whole abstinence only until marriage education.
Whoa.
Like true love waits purity culture came from Lynchburg, Virginia. So I'm in the hotbed.
Wow.
So my parents, neither one of them were people of faith. They both came to Liberty after conversion experiences of their own.
Wow.
And I think they wanted for their kids something different than what they had experienced. My mom was actually like a movie star. She was in Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th. And I think she had reached a pinnacle of success that was empty. And I think she had experienced a lot of sex, drugs, and soul. Yeah. And it had an emptiness to it, though. And so I think she wanted something different. And so, like lots of good parents, you hear something that's really impactful and you're like, this will be good. And so I was raised not only in purity culture, but in this even more dark space of a courtship model. Like I truly, in my family's origin, belonged to my father. Until my wedding day. So it was boys could court me with the intent to marry, but that was it. I was given no sexuality education. I was the oldest of 5 children, so very parentified, very raised. I was homeschooled, like just very, very protected. Ironically, very empowered too, like also told you can do anything and very much like an entrepreneur household. So lots of confusing messages and was raised in musical theater. So it was like very much with a lot of kind of other side of the spectrum folks. Yeah. Very interesting thing to grow up in, but found myself engaged at 21 and going to be married in November. And my mother got sick with pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
And so we moved our wedding up 6 months. And on my wedding night, the one piece of sexuality education I was given was take care of your husband's needs and everything else will be fine.
Wow.
So we get married. A couple weeks later, mom dies. My then husband is triggered by her death and starts battling alcoholism and many, many other tortured things. On our honeymoon, I throw some lingerie on. He laughs at me.
Oh.
I think something's off, like something's really off. But I was raised with this idea that the struggles of a marriage should not be shared with anyone. Once you're married, you are married. You put these things before God and you stay there. You don't share those things with anyone. The sins of your husband are not to be shared. A person who's really made it into the news recently is this guy, Doug Wilson. And I grew up under his family's kind of teachings. And it's been really wild to hear him talking about how they want to revoke the 19th Amendment, the right to vote for women, and these types of things, because this is what I was raised in. Is like, no, you submit to your husband. And this is obviously the type of suffering that is meant to refine you. Like, this is obviously meant for you. So I stayed in this for a decade. It was disastrous. We have a beautiful child through it all. And I don't know, one day somebody starts having dreams about me, and she asked me to go on a walk. And she says, "Lauren, what's up?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "What is going on in your home?" And for the very first time, I kind of spill it all the darkness that's going on. And she says, "We want to get you in counseling." And I said, "We can't, no, can't do that, because my husband's going to say I'm tattletaling on him." And she said, "Even more of reason to get you into therapy. Let's get you in right now." So it got me into therapy. Long story short, that led to a separation, then to a divorce. But in the place I was in inside of Christianity, I lost everything. It was not an approved divorce. The church did not see that there was any grounds for divorce. I was told to take a psych evaluation because my husband was saying one thing and I was saying another. It was wild.
Wow.
To watch your face is so helpful, because I'm like,
No,
it's bad. You're like, keep taking notes. I'm like, it's bad.
I have wrote down some things, and then I have like chills, and then I'm in awe because I'm like, I thought I grew up in pre-Puritan culture, but I'm like, this is like, I'm like, whoa. And then I have questions about, it's like, for me, there are like messages that we can receive in our dreams and our subconscious and that sort of thing. And I'm curious also about the woman, like what the relation. I don't know if
So many.
the relationship was to her, but how was she in the community too? And
She was, but she's a midwife.
Okay.
She is listening. She knows, like, she is a soul sister.
Yeah.
And she could feel. And this is not uncommon for her to have dreams about others as well. And she speaks them. I know, I have goosebumps everywhere. And she doesn't keep it inside.
Yeah.
And she said it so beautifully, in that if I had not felt comfortable to answer her, there would have been no shame. She knew she needed to say something. And she did such a beautiful job, too, of not creating a codependency of me onto her then, right? She heard, received, and then said, "Let's get you professional help," which I think was so beautiful, too. Like, she knew her role was to hear and to connect.
Or create like some kind of traumatic
savior
bond,
complex,
or
like, here I am to swoop in.
And I think it speaks to honoring intuition too.
Yes, so deeply.
Did y'all have like a prior relationship
Yeah,
where you
so
felt
I
safe enough?
had built a nonprofit organization during my whole journey, and she was on our board of directors, and we had built a friendship that was very, like, well, respected. Like, I just respected her as a human, and I think she respected me as a human, but it wasn't like we were like texting daily. It was like a very respectful, like, I see you as a woman type of relationship, but that was it. I mean, this was very much an out of the blue text. We became closer through that whole experience.
I can imagine.
But what's wild is I ended up, and the end of the story is I lost everything, lost my house, lost my community, because I was now an outcast, and moved into this little tiny apartment in the basement of a house. And it was there on the floor of that basement apartment that I said, "What now?" And I said, "Okay, so I'm no longer a virgin. Am I a whore?" And what was I missing? I feel like there's something missing. I feel like I could now go have sex with whomever I wanted, and that sounds fun. I should maybe do that. But also, really? Is that all there is? And what am I missing? What was I not told? And so I started gobbling up books. It was like one book would lead to another, lead to another, lead to another, lead to another, lead to another. And like my stack on my nightstand, just got bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Both nightstands.
So then I had friends start saying, like, "What's happening? You're changing. You look lighter. You look more in touch with yourself. What is happening?" And I think the narrative that had been given to me was that if I left evangelical fundamental religion, I would then slide down the slippery slope into hedonism and, just the depths of depravity. And instead, they were seeing me glow and stand up taller and feel more aligned with myself than I ever had before.
Like, here's this woman that's been brought to the base. Talk about a Phoenix Rising story.
Talk about a Phoenix Rising story.
I'm curious, do you remember any of the books that you read at that point?
Michaela Boehm's Wild Woman's Way was a really like instrumental one, and then also, I'm going to blank on her name right now. It's called Mary Magdalene Revealed. It was very, very important to me.
I love me some Mary Magdalene.
I love me some Mary Magdalene. And all of the lies that we were told inside of religious orthodoxy about this human who was Mary Magdalene. And I think that kind of it was like shackles falling from your eyes of, oh, I think I've been lied to. I think there's more on the other side.
Now I'm curious about how did that shift your relationship to God or Christianity, or like how did you begin to question that, or what?
Such a good question. I think Mary Magdalene Revealed led me to so many things that led me to really deep diving on the Council of Nicaea. So for those who might not know, the Council of Nicaea is this group of men who formed what we now know as the Christian Bible. And what I learned about those men was really horrifying because they were misogynists and they lived in a patriarchal culture, and they were really big followers of Plato. And Plato believed in this thing called dualism, that the mind was more holy than the body. And so once I began to really lean into the opinions and the beliefs of these men that put our scriptures together and also kept out things like Mary Magdalene's writing. They found Mary Magdalene's scrolls in 3 different places. They also found Thomas's, Doubting Thomas, in different places.
Okay, I'm reading Gospel of Thomas right now.
Oh my God.
And then Mary's next.
Enjoy. They are so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just,
So beautiful. So once I realized that I had been lied to, I started to just kind of put together my own faith. And I love to say now that I believe in magic and miracles. And I believe in a loving creator. I just do. It feels really good to me to believe that there is a being, I'm going to cry, who deeply cares about my well-being and about the humans around me. I don't think you can go through death and not believe in that. Because I deeply believe, as I've just learned so much, that there is just like this barely a veil separating us from those who have gone on and from those who have been before, right? So once I started to study indigenous attachment style, I started to learn that these ideas of secure attachment are so Western and so, right, you're either anxiously disorganized or avoidantly attached. And they're like,
or flip-flop between
the
two.
What the fuck? Like, you don't get to choose who you're born into. What about all of your ancestors who loved you and what did you hear? And when I started to learn, Kai-Ching Tom taught me about this web of attachment theory. And I think of it as me falling back almost into a hammock of the people who've loved us way before we even existed, which to me, that sounds an awful lot like what the Christian scriptures call the cloud of witnesses. And when I think about that, and I think about my mother being present here, right? And how now she probably knows, right? Now she's probably like, sorry, Lauren, I'm so sorry. It enables me to truly function more securely in sex and relationships.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I mean, death and loss has been like such a core theme throughout my entire life. And so it's like through that though, I've been shown through dreams, through signs, through synchronicities that I'm like, oh, but I have in some ways my relationship with my dad, who has also died, has grown significantly. Beyond his death. And some people look at me like, what? I'm like, yes. And then so like whenever my grandma, who just recently passed, I just would have this vision of him welcoming her and being so excited. and it would just bring me so much peace. And so I love that. And then I'm curious about the indigenous attachment styles too.
So I want to definitely say Kai-Ching Tom is the one who really introduced me to some of these things of that we're so Western, right? And it's like, we're broken and we should be fixed.
Oh, I hate that. I mean, I'm in this phase right now where I'm like, I'm not broken.
No.
And I don't even like the word healing right now. I like the word harmonized.
I love it.
Because I'm like, I'm not a project to fix.
I'm not.
And I've tried that for years and years.
I think what it does is the same thing as religious institutions do, which create codependencies. And I see the same modality at work in spirituality groups and in yoga places. And it's like, well, if you're not in class, why weren't you in class?
Yeah, show up on your mat.
right? It's the same thing. And I'm like, whoa, like I smell you smelled. It's just a horse of a different color. And so when I learned that, Indigenous people forever have just believed that it's not just your parent of origin, right? We don't get to choose the caregivers that we're born into. So we don't get to choose how we develop our attachment style. But that truly there's almost this web of attachment that goes out. And I think of like a spider web. And so if I think of every little string, and this has just been so helpful to me because when I thought of, okay, I don't think that my mother was prepared to give birth to me. I think she did struggle with severe postpartum depression. I don't think she was able to breastfeed. I was a cesarean section. You look at all these things, I'm like set up to be messed up. Right? Like,
trauma,
that's it. And then you look at this patriarchal world I was existing in, and that I was literally told, well, yes, you're the firstborn child, but you're not the firstborn son.
Oh,
All the
yeah.
time.
Wow.
And so I really did work to think, well, what ancestors or people in my life did want me here? And my grandfather did. My grandfather, there's story after story of him being the only person who could calm me and put me to sleep. And I'm like, I wonder if little infant Lauren knew. She was like, this dude is the only one who's super happy that I'm here. And when I can...
You can sense and feel that.
When I can, right, when we can take a deep breath and lean back into, especially that back body of ours.
I'll take one right now.
Yes. Into that secure web of attachment that holds us. Then I like to remind myself and my clients, well, then from that vantage point, we're able to broaden our window of tolerance. We're able to think beyond what safety-seeking strategy I need to take in order to stay attached. Because as human beings, we desire deeply to remain attached. And guess what? Loss and grief are hard. Like for anyone who's gone through death and grieving process, we know that being separated from someone you love is not comfortable. And so the things we do as human beings to stay attached to even just a casual lover don't surprise me because they come from abandonment wounds, anxious things. But when we can think of this web of attachment, this cloud of witnesses, however you want to think of it, I really find that from that place, I can make different decisions. Not better or worse, because I'm just not here for that. Different.
Yeah. Well, what comes up for me is like the fear or love.
Yeah.
And so if I'm rested and feeling supported, I'm more likely to make a decision that's more in alignment with love versus one that's a little bit more fear-based. And embracing that support too. So it's like I feel like I can make a more grounded decision from that space.
When we're making decisions out of fear, right?
Like
when we're reaching
clingy,
to clutch and cling to something. I always tell my clients, I'm like, guys, it is not going to be shamed in this space because a littler version of you did that to remain safe and it worked really well. But when we start to see that those same safety-seeking behaviors no longer have a positive impact, well, then that's interesting. Then we can look at the overwhelming sensations our bodies experience. Some call it flooding, some call it fear. When we're triggered by something, whether it's somebody not texting us back, whether
I've had that recently.
I know. Okay.
A couple weeks ago.
Like the same thing happens, right? It's like, wow, I've felt this before.
Yeah.
And it is usually a triggering of a much deeper, more precious source wound.
Oh yeah. She's about this high, your home haircut.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Like,
so
what do you need,
when we
little
can
girl?
love her, right? And we
Little
can
Tommy.
yes. And when she is able to be seen and we're able to say, hey, that choice you made to reach out and clutch something or to run away before was really smart. It's really
It served you. It helped you.
Did.
Yeah.
And we're proud of you. Now let's see what we can do going forwards. And is that having a negative impact? And how can I meet your needs? Right? How right now can you and I together, sweet one, your needs instead of making this casual lover or this other person? And it's interesting because it is before I learned this from Kai-Ching Tom and others, I was feeling it and experiencing it in casual sexual relationships. I was going, okay, the sex was fine, but now my heart is longing for something more. Now I'm on that basement apartment floor with my rat dying in the wall and freezing, going, okay, is this all? Like, is sex everything? And it's so funny. It's now become a catchphrase of mine that I say, sex is not everything. It's just a part of everything. And when information about our bodies and the bodies of others and how we function has been willfully withheld from us, it can be dangerous. It really can. And as much as I do love, I am a pleasure preacher, it's not everything. We're not all having sex all day, every day, but it's just a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have vacillated between, I'm like, am I more monogamy? Am I poly? Am I open? Like trying to like find, or my identity or giving self, in some ways. And I think the piece for me that was missing for so many years is like the sacredness of it and treating it like, or being present or with intention versus, I know I tried the pendulum swing of like the seeking the love, acceptance, validation through all of those different romantic relationships or substances or whatever. But then I also like swung back to like, the spiritual mediums and all the things, right? I don't even know where I was going with that,
But we
but
get to. I think that's such a
yeah,
beautiful. There, in so many
explore.
systems,
Yeah,
right? We can be told what to
yeah,
do,
yeah,
and it's like, do this. This
yeah,
is best. And sure, okay, for some people that works out
yeah.
fine. But I think for those of us, and you had said this before we went on air, and I thought it was really cool and I wanted to talk about it. I didn't question the system for forever,
Mm,
right? I didn't rebel. I
mm-hmm,
didn't say, no, I want to do this my own way.
mm-hmm.
And it's funny because it still didn't turn out well for me. The funny part of the story that we didn't really throw in there.
Oh yeah, let's throw it in. Yeah.
Is that 2-ish years after my divorce was final, my ex-husband texts me one night and says, "Hey, I just want you to know before I post about it in the morning, I've met someone and I'm in a beautiful, healthy, loving relationship with a man."
Wow. Yeah.
And I said, "That is amazing. I
No
cannot
wonder
wait
you laughed at me in that lingerie.
not wait to
Like,
celebrate you. This makes a lot of
like,
sense.
did you want to borrow it?
Thank you."
No, I'm kidding. No.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. Will you come over to my now house and
Mm.
to the backyard tomorrow? And before you post, will you let me rage at you? Because I think we will be skipping a step if we go right to celebrating you,
Mhm.
because we didn't believe women. Right? You told everyone that I was
Mhm.
lying. You told
Mm.
everyone that I
Good
was
for
a
you.
harlot
Yeah.
who'd gone rogue. And I want you to come over into the backyard and I want to rage at you. Not for right now. I love you.
Yeah.
You're awesome. I'm so happy for your partner. Can't wait to meet him.
Yeah.
I need you to come over for Lauren a couple of years ago. And I need you
Wow.
to stand there and I need to rage. And he was like, that sounds incredible. Coming over.
Powerful and good for you
So
for
beautiful.
expressing that.
It was
Like,
wild.
what a model. I know you mentioned you have a child too.
Yeah, I
Like,
do.
what a beautiful model that you're, gifting your daughter.
Thank you. It's the coolest thing ever. And I
Yeah.
think that so many of the narratives, again, that were given are
Mhm.
how harmful divorce is for children and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other thing.